The main activity actually process today is to grab the shadow copy from the system and to explore it. We see how to generate a shadow copy and for what we use it. We'll initially define what is a shadow copy and we use it for what in all cases. Technically, I started and as a description of what is a shadow copy and what is the purpose behind of this today practice is the administration of an environment in the sense of we give actually a chance to us to have to be actually an administrator in real field. Something deleted, we need to grab it. Something changed, we need to get the original value. Something has been installed, we have to know the prior version, and so on. Updates has been set, we have to get the configuration before the updates, and so on. To do so, amongst the solutions is to refer to the shadow copies of an operating system. Here we talk about the Microsoft operating systems mainly. This is a time frame that gives us a full view of the environment, but it is on the Microsoft-based operating systems, Windows 7, 8, 8.1, 10, and even the servers. They are actually having the capability to generate shadow copies and gives us the chance to manipulate that. So, in conclusion, the practice today is willing to give us the chance to administer an environment from the side of generating a copy of full data from the operating system. We'll be able to see the history and we'll be able to recover and restore the environment to a prior level, and we'll be able to recover all what has been deleted from an environment in a time frame, in a time slot. A little bit talk, but even though we need to refer to the administration toolkit behind the shadow copy, and we're going to see the content, no more, no less. From the effects actually of the shadow copy is to restore a system to a specific time point, time slot, time entry. From the other usages of the shadow copy is to recover what has been deleted from an operating system. From the other very dangerous and sensitive functionality of the shadow copy is to copy the system admin operating system, actually the Windows operating system admin directory, which is the system32 directory. We can copy the shadow the system32 actually contents. If I just show it to you, Windows system32, where it is system32, this is the one. The sum, we have the sum here actually, the sum folder, the sum file, actually sum db. It is not the sum folder, it is sum db. Sum. I'm gonna search here. Here it is, the sum. We can copy actually this sum, but in the normal directory, we'll be actually having a trouble to copy it or to take it or to modify it or to do anything here. If I want to create anything here, it is a scenario. Actually, we saw that in the digital security, but even though. So let's dig in and let's see the practice here what we can do with this shadow copy, how to enable it first of all, and later on what we can do with that. The practice has to be on a Windows 10 machine. The practice has to be on a Windows 10 machine. And for this purpose only, I already have a machine I'm going to use for that. But for you, if you don't have, actually, you have to install it. Otherwise, if you have your computer, you can use it on your computer. It is a very positive and healthy step. You do it on your computer, so you can practice on your normal computer. No need to use the virtual machine. If you have the virtual machine, that's wonderful. For me, actually, I have a virtual machine. I'm gonna use it, but Before I use it, actually, I have to show you for the learning purpose of this guide. I have to show you how to from where and how to download. I'm going to refer to the model just for your reference later on. I'm going to refer to my account in the model and the software portal. I'm going to search for the Windows 10. I need this 64-bit. I'm going to download and I get it. Once I get it, me already I have it. Me already I have it. I have it actually. In the virtual machine, I'm going to create a new machine. You know the steps. You just grab the Windows 10 and it's an on-screen instructions. Just next. One notes only. I have given 4 GBs for the RAM and 4 cores for the CPU. So it's very enough. 4 GBs, they are very enough for learning purposes only. For our practices, they would be actually enough. So this way, you'll be able to install the Windows 10. Me, I have it actually downloaded, so you have to have it in your computer. Here it is. I have it for me. So no worries. Done. Once installed, let's tackle the practice now. No updates usually for this virtual machine. Meanwhile, let me launch the guide in order to explain. But yes, good. So we have actually a descriptive scenario of the shadow copy. What is it and what does it do? But even though we are going to generate actually a shadow copy, why? Because we need a time frame control. We have to have a copy of the operating system today in order to be utilized later on for future scans or analysis or let's say recovery or things like that. The same thing, we are going to generate another copy after 1 week, another copy after 1 month, and so on. So it is just a time frame view. It is a time frame view. We are not generating a heavy stuff on the memory, let's say, but we are generating a time view of the framework, full framework. So we can control the environment based on the, let's say, time entries. Time entries. I insist on the word time entries. Okay, I'm going to move to the full screen mode. Yes, here we are. Great, great. So in here immediately I'm going to launch the CMD. So since the shadow copy it's a command line utility, we can have actually some functionalities under the CMD to be actually graphical let's say view. What I'm gonna do here immediately actually I'm gonna just refer to the grab of what are the functions available and running under this shadow copy. What I'm gonna do is the virtual actually and static shadow. What happened? Virtual static shadow administrator view VSS admin. Just I'm gonna see what it will give me. Yes, it is not usable, or it's not to be grabbing anything like this. Here is the help. You have to refer to one of the supported commands with this VSS admin. So what I'm gonna do is this shadow copy. I'm gonna just list the contents. I'm gonna just list the contents of the functions or what this shadow copy can give us as entries. So the shadow copies is the perps. Well, using the word shadow copy again and again. Why? Because um, it is the main topic. We will understand it better at the end. Shadows and the shadow copy of the framework or the environment or the operating system. So VSS admin again, and I'm gonna type the same entry. List shadow copy. Let's say shadow copy here. Okay, entry, enter. What did I do? Still, it is not giving anything. No, it's not shadow copy. It's shadows. List shadows. I did a mistake. List shadows. Okay. Clearly, he told me. Clearly, he told me that I do not have the right. I do not have the permission to do. I do not have the permission to execute such command. What I'm going to do, I'm going to just elevate the command prompt to be an administrator. I'm not going to run it as a normal user. I'm going to keep this one apart, and I'm going to run another command prompt, but as administrator, CMD, as administrator, to trespass that such limit. Yes, user account, user access control. Here it is. I am administrator now. I am administrator here. I'm going to just launch the same command, VSS admin. Yeah, again, I'm going the same command, VSS admin list shadows. Okay. Okay, here what he said, what shadow something like that, but there is no entry to specify at this level. There is nothing to be specified for us. Nothing. Why? Because we are normal user within the terminal. Actually, it's not the place to launch such functionality. We have to be on the PowerShell command terminal in order to launch such command. Actually, because the shadows, it is not uh, uh, it is not to be called from the CMD as a terminal. We have to move to the PowerShell. Sorry, the PowerShell to launch such thing. Just I'm calling the PowerShell. I'm calling the library, the PowerShell library. Enter. Yes, خلاص. Now see at the beginning we have PS. Now we in can type in whatever we want. I'm gonna type the same command again, VSS admin. See the color now, it's colorful, VSS admin. I'm gonna say it again. The same entries they are available for us. So I'm gonna call the same VSS but with list shadows. Come on. Shadows. Okay, list shadows. No, there is a mistake. List shadows, capital S, okay. What happened? Uh, existing shadows copy. Okay. Error invalid command, he's saying. What did I do? What did I do? I missed the list. I missed the list. Okay. Enter. Okay. No item. Oh, no items found. What does it mean here in this case? Nothing. There is no copy. There is nothing to be generated at this level still. So when we was on the normal terminal, it did not show anything. And still, when we elevated still one step further using the PowerShell, still it's not showing anything. What does it mean? There is no time frame point that we can use to refer to. One of the functions to make us understand, is there any error behind of this nothing to be available? One of the functions that the shadow copy do is that it helps us to do a system restore based on the time we specify. System restore to last week or to whatever we choose. So the system restore. If there is no time point to restore the system to, we can get such message. So concentrate to what I'm saying right now. This message here can push us to understand that the system does not have a time frame to which we can restore a system. Is that true? Let's prove that. I'm going to bring this one a little bit aside. And from the system restore utility here, from the search engine, I'm going to type restore r user interface.exe. I'm calling the function rstr. I'm going to call the cmd. CMD, not the CMD, sorry, the run utility, run, okay. And in the run utility, I'm gonna call the restore function, rstr user interface UI dot, come on, dot exe. Okay, enter. Here it is. Can I do any restore? No. System protection is we cannot actually, we do not have any time frame to, we cannot do next. So this is true. So this is a conclusion here. We do not have any time frame in the system to restore to. So our investigation now can prove to us that we are not able to, this system we are using now do not have any restore point. Conclusion number one. Great. Then great. At this level, we do not have any capability to restore a system to a step point, or we do not have any shadows of the framework we are created in. We do not have any shadows of the framework we are using now. Does not mean that we cannot work. We can create and we start work because the system is still, we are still new. This machine here we are using, it's still new. So we are going to create the first now, and in the future we will use it, and we will be creating and again others, and we will use them actually again and again. As per the task number 2 here in this guide today, we are required to automate the generation of shadow copies. It's task number 2. So we generate one, and the second and the third they will come actually by time next week, next month, and so on. But for now, we will generate one. So this is the command to generate. This is the command to generate a shadow copy. I'm going to explain it. I'm going to explain it. Let me come back to the virtual machine again. Yes, I'm going to explain it. So I'm going to use the notepad. All of it actually is in the PowerShell. Let me maximize the font. Okay, we are willing actually to activate the Windows manipulation actually interface, which is the WMI. We're going to use it to Windows manipulation interface. We're going to use it to refer to the objects of the operating system, and we are going to get them. We're going to call them. So there is a method in PowerShell called get WMI objects. This get WMI objects will help us to list all the shadow copies, all the shadow, let's say copy, all the shadow copies inside the environment. It's not the matter of the all or not, but even though it helps us to list the shadow copies we have in our environment, no more, no less. And after the listing of those shadow copies, we'll be able to either modify or create, let's say, edit them or delete them or create a new, and so on. Yet, yet there is a version that we have to tackle of this shadow copy. This shadow copy actually object we're going to create, which is actually based on the Windows 32 processors. Actually, come on, 32, 32. Yes. So let me minimize a little bit the font. Yes. So this call of a method through which we are going to create a new shadow copy. We are going to use this WMI object to point to the shadow copy, which is going to be utilized by us. We're going to use it to create shadow copy, a new shadow copy, no more, no less. To create the shadow copy, just I'm gonna state that this is a method that is a full method. I'm gonna surround it with two simple parentheses, starting and closing simple parentheses, and I'm gonna add the dot create method. Dot create method. Again, I'm gonna minimize a little bit the font, make it more visible. Dot create is a dot create. Yeah. So we are going to create an object from this method, an instance, let's say, an instance, a view. So this instance, it refers to the directory where we have, it is a parameterized method, this create. It is a parameterized method. So we are going to use the parameters here, which are specifying the directory where the operating system is. In our case, the operating system is in the C drive. And the C drive is in the C drive. The operating system, the Windows, here it is, the Windows, here it is. Where it is in the C drive. So the first parameter, and between two double quotations, I'm going to specify C colon backslash. What? This is what the operating system is. Second parameter, it is there are two parameters actually. Actually, is to give permission to the clients. Actually, client accessible, more or less. Client accessible. So we are just given access. So not access, but we are just given permission to the all the guests or to all the users. So I'm gonna specify as a string. So two double quotations. Great. So we are having two parameters in this create method, which is to create an instance from the as a shadow copy from the Windows environment, Windows manipulation interface. Great. Let's create that. Let's do that on field now. Since I explained that clearly, I'm not going to copy paste it, but I'm going to do it still on the administrator command prompt and still inside the PowerShell. I'm going to just call the get MySQL WMI. W, this is it. WMI object. I'm going to press enter first of all and let's see what happened. Yes. Plus, I'm going to say whatever here. I'm going to say shadow copy, shadows. Is recognized. So I'm going to type it fully. WMI. I'm just manipulating and see the errors I'm going to get. So I'm going to say list the win32, win32. Come on. Win32 shadows underscore. Shadow copy. Okay, enter. Nothing happened. Nothing happened to me. I told him to list, but it did not do anything. This way, it will not show anything. I'm going to specify that I'm going to create. So I started with start parenthesis and I close with a closing parenthesis. Create. It's a method. And it is not recognized this way because it has to be parameterized. It has to be parameterized. I'm going to call it as a method without the create itself. And still it's not showing any instance. So again, create, but I'm going to give the C drive as a directory. Still, it does not go with one parameter. It has to be respect because it's a predefined method, this one. I want to specify it with the system directory and the permission to give. So bring it apart this way, yes. Here, comma, and the second parameter, which is client accessible. Client accessible. Yes, it brought itself to the new line. Enter. Still, it's not recognized. You cannot call a method on null valued expression. That is, there is something. WMI object list shadow copy. Yeah, absolutely true. It is actually, but maybe actually the context of the capital small. Yes. Small list. Here is shadow copies, not shadow copies, shadows copy. Oh, shadow copy. Without S. Great. Yes, we are in, and we have generated a shadow with an ID. Yes, we have generated a shadow with an ID. We have generated the shadow with an ID. Okay, I'll keep this one apart and I'll come back to the other terminal where I'm gonna do a call to the VSS admin now again. VSS admin, I'm normal user, I'm not administrator, VSS admin. minus list shadows, yes, enter list shadows. There is no minus, so there is no minus here, so it's a simple list shadows. Yes, enter. The window that has elevated administrator. Okay, I'm gonna come back here. I'm gonna leave it whatever because I just wanted to stick at this view. I'm gonna exit this PowerShell and I'm gonna call the VSS admin again. Here it is, these shadows. Enter. Now we are having something different completely. We are having actually a shadow copy with a date. Here it is, the date. And this is the volume actually that it is pointed by this shadow copy number one. So we are having today's date. We generated it today. That's great. That's perfect. Okay, I'll keep this one here. I'll keep this one here. I'll open the desktop. In my desktop, I'm gonna generate a folder. I want to say digital forensics. Inside of it, I want to create a file, a text file, whatever document, text document. I'm going to say also DF digital forensics. I'm going to open it, and I'm going to say, let's say, VSS admin, VSS admin. Okay, خلاص. I'm going to save. Save. I close. Size 1 kilobyte. Means there is data inside. I'm going to close. خلاص. We have data here. Okay. I generated this folder with the data inside when when after we have generated this shadow copy after because we created it at 250 and this folder we created it at 251. I can prove that. I go to desktop. This digital forensics has been generated when 251. This is the time 251. 251. Okay, can we find it inside the view of this volume? Can we reach the content of this volume where this digital forensics actually folder is available? Let's check that. How to do that? Okay, as per the guide we are having, as per the guide, we are required to refer to the link that the Windows can give it to us where the shadow has been generated. So the shadow has to be generated, and we have already one. We generated one. So we are going to create a link. Command based make link. It's a shortcut. It's a shortcut to where has been this volume has been generated. See the same syntax, we are having it inside here. We have the volume here. It is. It starts with two double slashes, and it ends with a name. And we are going to add a backslash. No more, no less. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna create a link. So it's a shortcut. MK link. It's a command. Sorry, link. Command link. It's a directory. D. It's a directory. I'm gonna give it the name. I'm gonna give it the name. For example, digital digital forensics. Digital forensics. I'm gonna give the title 28. Sorry, digital for. They do. Okay, may MK link. I'm gonna say it's a directory. Digital. I'm gonna say the name digital forensics. Digital forensics. I'm gonna give the title, the date 22/8 or 28/2/21. Okay, a space. It points to where? It points to where? It points to this directory, this to this volume, the shadow copy volume. I selected, highlighted, sorry, edit, copy, and here paste. At the end, I'm gonna add backslash. This is a must. This is a must. Otherwise, to give you an error later on, you cannot open. Yes, good. Now I'm gonna confirm that. Okay, he told me a symbolic link has been created. Okay, Where it has been created? It has been created inside the system 32, inside the system 32. So I'm going to try to reach there to open it. So I'm going to just call the directory start dot nokta. Enter. Yes, it has been opened. This is the system 32. What was the name of our folder? Digital Forensics 2821. This is user defined name. This is user defined name. I can write Murad. I can write Aya. I can write, it's a user defined. Okay, let's come back there. We search for this digital forensics, but D. It starts with D. It's a shortcut. Here it is. Here it is. Here it is. If I open it, what will I find? Everything inside this computer. Users. I'm gonna say public. This is Murad. This is Murad. Desktop of Murad. Here it is. Here is the contact. I have the virus we created as class. Not that class. It is I created it in another course. I'm sorry, but we do not have the folder. We do not have the folder that we created earlier. We do not have this folder, digital forensics. See, we have all the others. We have all the others. But this digital forensics, we do not have it. Conclusion number two. Conclusion number two. Modifications brought to the operating system. They are visible, clearly visible. This digital forensics has been generated after this shadow copy. Means after this date and this time even. Okay, I'm going to create a second. I'm going to leave everything like it is. I'm going to leave everything like it is. I have now this desktop, my desktop. I have this shadow copy. I have this shadow copy. Okay, this is the shadow copy. I have this one here. I'm going to create a second. I'm going to create a second shadow copy. Yes, this one has been created at 250. I'm going to create now 257 or 58. Okay, PowerShell immediately. Okay, enter. I'm inside the PowerShell. Here is the PS. Okay, here I'm gonna call the get. I'm gonna create it again. Whatever the same command. Enter. Has been generated with a different ID. This is for sure. I'm gonna now exit this PowerShell. Enter. And I'm gonna call the VSS admin to list the shadows. How many we have? We have two entries. We have two volume shadow volumes. One. This is the number one, and this is the number two. This is at when? This is at 258, which is this time now. Very good. I'm going to create a second link to this shadow copy now, to the new shadow copy. I'm going to create mk link. I'm going to give it, it's a directory, d/d. I'm going to give it a name. I'm going to say df now, 28 to 21. Come on, what did I do? mk link is a directory. I'm going to say df 222. Problem with this keyboard. Ah, yes, I'm using the calculator, sorry. So mk-link, I said mk-link. It's a directory. I'm going to give it the name df222, whatever, user defined. That points to where? Points to this volume, the second one. Number two. Highlight, copy, and I want to paste it here. I add what? Backslash. This is important. Backslash. Good. Now enter. Symbolic link has been created. The F222 now. Earlier we created digital forensics. Earlier we created digital forensics 28. Now we created the F222. Let's start this directory. Start dot. Enter. Yes. With the DF222. And this is the digital forensics. Digital forensics users Murad Desktop, we do not have the folder. I come back. df222 users, Murad, desktop, we have the folder. We have the folder with the file inside, the df, if you remember very well. Conclusion here. Conclusion here. We are having two different time frames that we can actually scan and analyze and track the changes brought to this operating system. Um, I'm gonna stop the recording here. I'm gonna stop the recording here to send it to you, and I give you the chance to ask and to interact if you have any questions.